friends, it's Jessie here. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. In today's video, I am in my July section of my budget planner. I have already set up my monthly calendar as well as these pages with you. If you missed that video, check it out in a card above. Today, we are going to be flipping the page and we are going to be setting up my sinking fund page for the month. So I have this beautiful sticker kit here from Jennifer Ann Plans. This is her sinking funds and her transaction log. So I have these, and then I also have her really beautiful washi strips here. So I need to kind of decide what pattern I want to use, and I'm thinking that I want to use this one with the stripes. So I'm going to go ahead and set this off to the side. I'm going to lay these stickers down, and then we're going to start talking about my sinking funds. I'm pretty excited, you guys, because we're making major changes in July. Okay, so there's my header. How pretty is that? These stickers are so vibrant and beautiful. I do have a link down below for Jennifer Ann Plans' Etsy shop. Definitely check her shop out. She's got so many beautiful stickers for the Erin Condren monthly planner, both the 7x9 size and the 8.5x11 size, which is what I use. I just have sort of dismantled my Erin Condren planner and punched it to put it onto this disc bound system, but overall I love it. So I'm going to use the sinking funds header right here. This is where I'm going to kind of list out all of my funds. Try and center this the best I can, but I'm really bad at that, so if it's crooked, you know, hopefully it doesn't bother anybody too bad. And then this is going to be the transaction log. Here we go. And then we're going to have this little strip here go in, and this is where I will list the fund, the beginning amount, and then throughout the month, or at the end of the month, I'll probably come in and do the how much I added over the course of the month and how much I took away to get an ending balance. That ending balance will of course be my starting balance for August. So I'm going to also stick this little guy up here for my transaction log, so that as we are accessing our funds and taking money out of them throughout July, we have a place to write those transactions in. And this sticker just says the fund, the date, the amount, and the description. So if we access our clothing sinking fund, for example, we'll just write that it's the clothing fund, the date we accessed it, how much we spent, and give a brief description of what we spent it on. Obviously, if it's the clothing fund, the description is going to say clothing. So that's the bare bones basic setup. Now we're going to get into the fun part. Typically what I do here is I just will look at the previous month's planner layout. I'll look at that page and I will just transcribe all of the funds from that page. However, we're definitely mixing things up in July, and we are not going to necessarily have the same categories we had in June. So this is my June sinking fund spread, and you can see this long list of sinking funds here, but we are not using these funds anymore. Some of them we are, but we're definitely revamping some things. So in an effort to mix things up for July, what I did was I went into my big accordion folder where I was keeping all of my sinking funds. I went through all of the categories, wrote all the categories out, and then what I did was downsized everything a little bit. So, for example, we had separate sinking funds for things like car maintenance, car tabs, and there was money here and there. And instead of having multiple sinking funds like that, I narrowed it down to just a car sinking fund. And I kind of went through each one of my categories and decided, was it a category I wanted to keep? Could it be combined with another category? How could we make it work? And I came up with a total of 12 categories for sinking funds, and all of my existing sinking funds fit into one of those 12 categories. So if one of these funds does not fit into one of those categories, then it's not a fund that I'm going to be saving for anymore. I really wanted to, for one, downsize this giant accordion folder. This thing is huge, it's heavy, it takes up a lot of space in my safe, and it worked out really beautifully for me for a while, but it's kind of starting to fall apart a little bit. The string is almost about to break, and you know, I'm just ready for something new. I've been feeling really burnt out with my budget recently and wanting to mix things up, and I thought a good way to do that was to mix up my sinking funds. So my sinking fund categories are going to be as follows. We're going to have our camping sinking fund. That will encompass our campground fee that we've been saving for throughout the year, also our campground electric bill, and our camping expenses. So, see, we used to have a vacation fund where we were separating our transactions or our cash that we were saving, and all of our camping expenses we were taking out of our vacation fund. It's not really a vacation fund. When I think of a vacation fund, I think of savings for like a tropical vacation or a cruise or something. And that's not really what we were using it for. We were mostly using it for camping expenses. So now the money that's in that vacation fund will get transferred into our camping fund, and that will all be encompassed in that one category. So we've got camping, then we have car, which will cover our car maintenance, car repair, car tabs, and anything else that's kind of related to cars. So car washes will come out of that. We will still continue to have our gas fund that we fund every week in my cash envelopes. So I'll still give myself gas money in my wallet every week, but if we have any leftover gas money, that'll go into the car fund as well. The third category is going to be celebrations. So we had an anniversary fund, we had a holidays fund, we had a birthdays fund, and all of those things are now being moved into my celebrations category. So that's just going to downsize everything a little bit, minimize it. That way I'm not confused when it comes time to buy a graduation gift or a birthday gift or fund our Easter celebration. All of that is going to be coming out of celebrations. Christmas is going in there as well. Christmas used to have its own fund. We're going to try lumping everything together. If this does not work out, you guys, I can always separate it again. But I want to try to simplify. I will be honest, originally I was going to just take every single one of the dollars in our sinking funds and I was going to put it into our second bank account and just have one big sinking funds account where we pull everything out of there. I did it that way in the past and it worked out okay, but I decided I should probably take baby steps, not just throw away the whole enchilada here. So we're kind of taking a step towards combining things and consolidating things without going like full on just one big fund for everything. Okay, so that's the third one. Fourth, we're going to have our clothing fund. That's going to encompass clothing, shoes, if we need a new coat, if we need new socks, underwear. That's going to be clothing for the three of us, my husband, myself, and my youngest son. So when he has back to school clothes shopping he needs to do, that'll come out of our clothing fund. That's all going to be that fund. Then we have our home fund, which is going to be, I should really be writing these down as I go, shouldn't I? That way we're not sitting here even longer. So let me go back and write in these funds that I've already talked about. So camping, car, celebrations, and clothing. And we're going to go into these funds today and actually consolidate everything as well. And I'm going to show you my new folder for those sinking funds. All right, so next up we have home. And our home fund is going to encompass our home insurance that we pay for annually, but also any household maintenance, you know, if we want to buy anything for the house in terms of like bath towels or new bedding, that sort of thing, that will come out of here. Also any household expenses. I think I'm going back and forth between including our household budget in this sinking fund where we would have like money for paper towels and toilet paper and whatnot versus just having that also come out of my grocery budget and my food budget, because I do all of that shopping at the same time. I've kind of bounced back and forth between including it with our groceries, having it separate. I haven't really decided what I want to do. If I decide to keep it as a sinking fund, that will be part of this home fund as well. If not, it'll go into my cash envelopes as part of my grocery budget. You guys can leave me some feedback down below. Tell me what you think of that. Okay, so next up we have medical. And this is a brand new sinking fund for us. This is not something we have had up until this point. I guess in my mind I just figured that if we had any medical expenses, God forbid one of us ended up in the hospital or something like that, we would just pull that money from our emergency fund. I don't want to do that. I want to have a separate medical sinking fund. So we're going to be starting that. And that's going to be for all things that kind of fall under that medical umbrella. Next up, we have pets. We are going to continue our pets fund. That will encompass our pets' food, any sort of flea medication that we need, any vet visits, cat litter, all of that goes under pets. So that is a fund we already had. Nothing's really changing there. That's just one that's been working out for us, so we're going to stick with it. Next up, we have school expenses. So this is another one that's an existing fund that works really well for us. Anything that has to do with my son's school, wow, that was really sloppy and kind of taking up a lot of space. So I'm just going to write it in as school, I guess. Sorry, I know I'm shaking the whole table trying to erase this. So what's going to be under this school umbrella? So any sort of school expenses that we have, whether it be school pictures, yearbook, school lunches, school supplies, anything like that. Also, any sports that my son decides to get into will come out of this school expenses category. It won't be school clothing. That'll come out of our clothing budget. But everything else that kind of you think of when you think of expenses that have to do with school, field trips, that sort of thing is all going to come out of our school sinking fund. Next up, we have a spending sinking fund. I'm pretty excited about this one. Somebody recommended that I do a sinking fund where I just put some money into it here and there throughout the year so that whenever I get the urge to shop, like I did this last week, you guys know we went way over budget because I just decided I didn't want to budget. I was tired of it. I needed a break from it and I wanted to spend money. somebody suggested, hey, why don't you set some money aside throughout the year so that when that happens, because it's happened a couple of times now, obviously you're going to keep doing it. You might as well have the money set aside for it. So that's what's going to go into this spending. But in addition to that, it's also going to be my husband's sinking fund, like the sinking fund right now that we have where we're saving for him to get some equipment for work. That money is going to go into spending. Also, the money that he typically saves for hunting. I fooled around with titling this activities or fun or something like that, but it's just like a general spending. Whenever we want to spend money on something that isn't encompassed elsewhere, that's where we're going to get it from. Next up, we have subscriptions. This is a new one. I have been spending money every month on subscriptions. You know, $12 here for Disney Plus, or $8 for Disney Plus, $12 for Netflix, or whatever it is. And I'm going to go in and transfer as many of those subscriptions as I can into annual subscriptions. So I know that Disney Plus has an annual membership you can sign up for, save a little bit. I'm not sure what else. I need to look into it, but regardless, Hulu, Netflix, our Amazon Prime, all of that is going to be taken from this sinking fund from now on, rather than including it as a bill in our regular monthly expenses. We will just add a little bit of money to it every week, and then when those bills come up, we will pay them. So that's what subscriptions is for. Next up, and lastly, we have YouTube. So I guess it's actually only 11 categories. I thought I had 12, but I only have 11 listed here. So unless I can't count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So there you go. YouTube is the same as it always has been, just saving for taxes. For when I file my taxes, when YouTube pays out through Google AdSense, they don't withhold, you know, that percentage that you have to pay for taxes. You have to do the withholding yourself, so that's what the sinking fund is for. So that's it. You can see we have downsized quite a bit. I'm hoping this will work out. You know, I can always change my mind later on. If I decide that I want to go back to the old way, I can, but that is going to be the way that I'm going to do it, at least for July. So now I'm going to go ahead and stick this little totals sticker down. I'm going to skip a line just in case I happen to come up with that 12th category that I thought I had. Maybe I just have had a brain malfunction and forgotten it. But I stuck with 12 or less categories because I got a new accordion folder for my sinking funds, and you guys, it's quite a bit smaller than what I have been using. So this little guy is what I'm going to be using to house my sinking funds from now on. I actually originally purchased this for Robbie's budget. You will see that he has one of these as well when I sit down and film his budget. I don't know, I think I like the idea of keeping it small, keeping it simple. This little pocket rainbow accordion folder came from Amazon. It's going to fit just the cash that I have for each of my sinking funds, as well as a little index card. Keep it really simple. This will also prevent me from having too much cash on hand. You guys know I really love having my sinking funds in cash, but there comes a point when there's just too much cash on hand at home and I need to deposit some of it into the bank. And this, I think, will help keep me accountable to that. A lot of times I say to myself, oh, I'll go deposit that into our account, and then it just sits there. So we're going to try this out. If it doesn't work out, like I said, I'm not getting rid of my big old guy, but I mean, look at the size difference. This is going to take up so much less space. Also, should I need to transport my sinking funds, this will actually fit in a little purse. So this is what we're going to attempt. Hopefully it works out. It's just a little tiny version of that Big Daddy there. I'm going to not use these little labels that came with it. I'm probably going to make my own labels like I always do using my Dymo label maker. So each one of my sinking funds is going to get its own little space here in this little tiny baby accordion file. And this is what we are going to use moving forward, at least for July. For August, we may be right back to what we were doing before, but you can't know if something's going to work until you try it. So I'm going to do the label making and stuff off camera. For now, I'm just going to go into my big old fat accordion folder. I'm going to pull out the cash, combine my categories, make up new index cards, and get the cash put in here. And we'll see just how fat this baby gets. Hopefully not too fat. So we're going to start out with camping. And as I mentioned, our campground fund is going to go in there. And that's going to cover our campground fee, our electric bill, and any camping expenses. So also our vacation fund is going to go in there. Our vacation fund is currently empty. We're getting ready to go on vacation, but if we have anything left over when we come back from our camping trip, that money will go right here into our camping sinking fund as well. So I need to make up a new little index card. I've got the cash, I've got this and that. Still gonna use index cards for this because it works out well and they do fit in there. So we're just going to label this now camping. Hopefully you guys can see. This is really just like a stream of consciousness thing. I wasn't even really going to film this part, but I figured it might be interesting to someone. So today, when I'm filming this, I don't know what happened to my phone. You guys could see the mess that I have on my desk right now. You would be horrified. Where did I put my phone? Give me just a second to find my phone and get my bearings, and then we'll start taking care of business here. Okay, so I cleaned off my desk a little tiny bit and found my phone, which is what I was looking for. Now I've lost my pen. Oh, there it is on the floor. Okay, so today's date is June 23rd. I'm not going to be adding any more money into my sinking funds until our first paycheck in July. I have already kind of allocated the money we're going to be allocating for June into these funds, so I'm kind of set and ready for July to start. So as of 6/23, we have a total of $822 in our camping fund. So that is all set and ready to go into our very first tab. You can see that the cash and the card fit nicely down in there with no problems. So that's the very first one. Next up we have car. So we're going to go into my car maintenance. We have not yet saved anything for car tabs or anything, so it's just the money in the car maintenance fund I need to transfer and go ahead and make a new card again. I didn't count the campground money because I just counted that one when I put the money in there during my cash envelope stuffing video. This car maintenance one I will go ahead and count once I get this card filled out because I want to make sure that I have everything, you know, up to snuff. So this is no longer car maintenance, it's just car. And everything for my car will go into this fund. And according to my card here, on 6/23, we had a total of $487. So let's go ahead and count this up and make sure that's what I have. 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, 420. Oh, I got this all sorts of discombobulated. Let's try that again. 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, 350, 370, 380, 385, 386, 387. So why am I $100 short? That's not good. Did I count wrong? Hopefully I counted wrong. Let me just double check and make sure I didn't leave 100 behind in my envelope. I didn't, so that's good. Let's count this one more time. 100, 200, 300, okay, 350, 400, 450, 470, 480, 85, 86, 87. So there is 487 in there. I don't know what I did. I can't count. That's fine. So this will go into my little accordion file as well. And like I said, I'm going to make labels for everything off camera. So next we have celebrations. And this is where we would start combining things if I had any money in any of these celebration envelopes to begin with. Like our anniversary fund would go in there. Our birthday fund would go in there. Christmas goes in there, as well as holidays. Most of these funds are empty to start out with, so that kind of makes the math easy, I guess. Like there's nothing in holidays. There's definitely money in Christmas, so we'll go ahead and pull that out. Nothing in birthdays and nothing in anniversary. So we have $630 in our Christmas fund, so that is going to be the total for our celebrations fund. Hopefully what I'm doing here is making sense to you guys. Just trying to simplify and have less categories to try to kind of fit things into. So celebrations as of 6/23, is that what I said the date was? Is $630. Let's just count this and make sure. So 150, 250, 350, 400, 20, 40, 60, 80, 500, 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 90, 600, 610, 615, 620, 25, 30. So $630 in celebrations, and that's going to go behind the little third tab here. And it fits in there so perfectly. I love that there's not a ton of extra space, so that's good. I have not been writing these beginning balances down, you guys. Why didn't you tell me? So camping has $822. Car has $487. And celebrations has $630. All right, now we'll move on to clothing. So our clothing fund, I think, is pretty much spent. Yeah, we have nothing in clothing, so definitely gonna start adding money to that. That's the other thing. Typically what we've been doing is just choosing a handful of sinking funds to fund every week. Now that we only have these 11 categories, we are going to be adding money into all of these categories every week. Even if it's only $1, I'm going to be adding money to all of my categories. That way nothing is getting completely neglected. Even if it's only $1 going in there, at least it's going to be something. So I just need to make a clothing envelope here. And I guess I can write that on 6/23 we had nothing in there, but we'll be adding money starting the first week of July. All right, next up we have home. So we said nothing in clothing. Let me just make sure there wasn't anything else I was supposed to add to that clothing fund. I don't think so. I think we're good. All right, home. So that's going to encompass everything that we have in our household fund, which is nothing, so that makes it really easy. And also our home insurance, which is also empty. And our property taxes, which has a little bit of money in there. So yeah, all of this gets combined into just one home fund. So home, as of 6/23, has a whopping $40 in it. So all of that can go. Let's just count this and make sure that we do have 40. 20, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. And that will go right in here as well. Okay, so home had $40. Next up is medical. We know that's a brand new account. Doesn't have anything in it currently, but we're going to start adding to it the first week of July. Even if it's just $1 at a time, we're going to add money to this as we go. And I'm excited about having this. I think that it's going to give me a lot of peace of mind to know that this money is available and ready to go when I need it. Next up, we have pets. So medical. Pets, I think, is also empty. I just went through and made a big deposit for, we went and bought pet food and cat litter and a bunch of other stuff. So right now I believe it's empty, which it is. So we will just go ahead and create this as a placeholder for when we add money to this at the start of July. Next up, we have school expenses. I believe the school envelope is empty as well. Could be wrong though. Oh, it looks like there's a little bit left in there. $30. So that's a good place to start. Definitely going to be adding money to this. Like I said, we're going to add money to all of our funds every week, but obviously the ones that are the most pressing will get more money, and the ones that aren't quite as pressing will get less money. So like school expenses, school's starting up in September, so it's definitely time to start thinking about school expenses. So yeah, we said $30. Okay. Okay, so pets has nothing, school has 30. Next up is spending. So for spending, we are going to take money out of my husband's sinking fund. Our hunting sinking fund, which is empty. My Nintendo Switch savings is going to go in there as well. So, just going to pull out this money here and combine it all together. And let's see what we got here. So we have 50, 150, 200, 20, 40, 60, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78. So $278 in spending. Let me just create my little card here. That's all good to go. Alright, next we have subscriptions, which would encompass our Amazon Prime envelope if it had anything in it, but it doesn't. It's empty. Let me just make sure there's nothing else here that's going to go into subscriptions. I don't think so. I believe we're starting with nothing, so that's totally fine. We'll start adding to this very soon. And lastly, we have YouTube. So I will just grab out my YouTube envelope. Which currently has $851 in it. We'll just count this up really quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 758, 820, 830, 840, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, $51. So that takes care of YouTube. And I still have a little place in the back of my accordion folder where I can put my extra things. So I have my extra index cards that are going to go in there. And this little envelope where I keep my son Robert's savings that we're saving up for him. So that's going to go into the back. So that it's all at the ready. This still can close up very nicely. It's pretty chunky, but everything fits. It's really super minimalistic. I'm happy with this. Now, I believe there's still some cash in this guy that doesn't fall under any of these categories. Let me just double check. Last thing I want to do is have cash that's unaccounted for. So we have our gasoline, which I guess technically goes into car, doesn't it? So we'll go in and fix that in a minute. We have a haircuts fund. Our haircuts are no longer going to be a sinking fund. We will just budget for those on a weekly or monthly or however often we need them basis. That'll just go into our typical weekly budget is what I meant to say there. My P.O. Box fund, which is empty, but this is also no longer going to be a sinking fund. And yeah, that's it. So we're going to go ahead and pop open this car savings and throw this gasoline money in there. I don't know if I want to put it all in there or not. You guys, I have had this money sitting in this gasoline fund for, well, since March. And I don't know if that's March of this year or March of last year, if I'm being honest. I think it was last year. It's just sitting here for a scenario when we need more gas than what we budget for. I haven't touched it, so it's probably not something I need to have anymore. I thought that I did. And I definitely want to add some of it because gas prices have gone up, but I don't think I need to take this full $300 and transfer it to our car savings. I'm second guessing myself. I'm going to put it in there. I'm going to put the full $300 in there, but I'm going to talk to my husband, and if he agrees that we don't need to have this extra $300 for gas, then, well, I guess it can just go towards car maintenance or one of those other categories. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm just going to where is it? Here it is. Okay. $487. I was like, wait, it's not in there. That's because I took it out already. Let me just make sure, because I stacked all this money together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 50, 70, 90, 95, 96, 97. 487. 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, 450, 470, 480, 85, 86, 87. 487 plus that 300. I'm just going to go ahead and include it. We can always take it back out if we decide we don't need it in here, but it can definitely go towards something else. Our card tabs. Like I said, this is one big umbrella now. I need to remember that. So we're going to deposit $300 from gas, and that's going to make this $787. Like I said, I may very well turn around and pull some of this cash back out, and if I do, that's fine. For now, I'm just going to stick it in there. All right, $787. 100, 200, 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, 670, 690, 710, 730, 750, 770, 780, 785, 786, 787. Okay, so that'll go back behind the car tab. I'm going to go ahead and make some labels for this, like I said, off camera, but that is all set. Like I said, she's definitely chunky, so this will encourage me to also make sure I'm just using larger bills and making change for myself on a regular basis. I think this is going to work out just fine. I also can take out these extra things. I don't have to keep them in here, but I just love how cute and compact this is. This money here, this $10, $15, $16 that I had left that didn't fit into any of my other categories, I'm going to just go ahead and deposit back into the bank. That'll go towards our buffer. I'm super, super psyched about this. So leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think this was a good idea? Do you think that it was a bad idea? I just wanted to change things up. So that's what I did. I'm pretty happy so far. So, thanks so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. I post new budgeting and lifestyle content here on my channel every single week. I'd love to have you come back, and I'll see you next time.